It's Monday. Good afternoon. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Pulse with me, Elton Broby. Now, in this afternoon's edition, fresh violence in Bawku as bus carrying market women is hit with a bullet. There are reports of 6 deaths in the last hour. This afternoon, there is desperate call from the National Chief Imam for ceasefire and resumption of peace talks as the Ghana Armed Forces raises concern about the changing dynamics of the conflict, with insurgents now resorting to highly sophisticated weapons, including rocket grenades, and targeting state installations such as Goil.
Who could become great people and losing their education.
Let's start from Bawku, and where 6 people have been killed in another attack in the last hour. Abesori joins me live for more. He's our Upper East regional correspondent. Albert, welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News. Now, give us the very latest. We are hearing 6 people have been killed in the last hour.
Yes, Elton. So the last 48 hours have been calm. This morning, our checks in Bawku showed that normalcy had returned. Only that there was a significant increase in the number of security personnel that were on the ground doing foot patrols and also vehicular patrols as well. It was just about an hour ago when news came in that a bus which had been carrying some traders, mainly women, who were on their way to a market in the Binduri district, was ambushed, and the gunmen fired several shots at the bus. It took a while before the security traveled to the place to see what was going on. But what we are told is that there were casualties. The casualties, as we have been told, are 6. I've been able to confirm this number with my sources within the police. They include 2 male, 2 men, and 4 women. As we speak, my checks in Bawku show that the people have already heard about this incident, and families of some of the people who were in that bus are eagerly waiting to hear the news of whether their relatives are among the deceased or not. It's also reportedly increased the tension, and so many people have already retreated from the streets and gone indoors for fears of what could happen. We are told that the soldiers have also increased surveillance. A lot of them are currently on the streets of Bawku, and they are doing patrols. And so because of this, many people are also keeping away from the streets because, one, they do not want to get caught in the middle of any reprisal shootings or even get into trouble with the military because of what recently happened. And so that is what we know of this recent incident.
So these are indigents of Bawku?
Well, for now, we cannot tell whether they are all indigents of Bawku, but we know that the bus was headed from Bawku towards Binduri. So there is a high possibility that indigents of Bawku are involved. But what usually happens with passenger buses of this nature is that they pick people from Bawku on the way to the market. They pick other people, into the bus. So we cannot tell whether all the deceased are from Bawku at this moment. But we do know.
So that's our Upper East regional correspondent, Abesori, bringing us up to speed on events in the Bawku township where 6 people are reported dead after a bus they were traveling on was ambushed by gunmen. It's unclear what triggered the clashes. Let me take you back to Bawku because Albert is back on the line. So Albert, you were telling us whether these are indigents or people who had come from other parts of the town. Albert, if you can unmute and if you can hear me,
yes.
I was asking whether you were able to establish if those who are injured and the deceased, were they indigents or they had come from other communities to Bawku?
Yes, Elton, I lost the network a little bit. So what I was explaining was that what usually happens with passenger buses of this nature is that they pick passengers from Boko and other places on their way. So for now, we cannot confirm categorically whether all the passengers in the bus were from Boko. What we do know is that the bus was headed from Boko to the Binduri district. And so we know that there may be a lot of passengers from Boko in that bus, but at the moment we are unable to confirm whether all the deceased, and even we're told that there are 2 people who are severely injured as well at the moment. We cannot tell whether all of them are indigents of Boko at this material moment.
And are you also able to tell us what may have triggered this latest incident?
Well, the information we have now is that it's still in connection with the conflict that is ongoing. This is not the first time that a passenger bus has been ambushed. Remember, only a week ago, less than a week ago, this was on Friday, a bus that was carrying students from the Boko Presbyterian Nursing Training College who had just vacated and they were on their way, was ambushed and fired at. There was one person who was injured and is still receiving treatment in hospital from that incident. Last year, a bus which was also carrying women who were on their way across the border to Sinkasi in Togo to do their business was ambushed by gunmen who also shot at it. So this is just usual ambushments by gunmen, and it is most likely related to the ongoing conflict here.
And what about tension in the area as we speak? Is it heightened?
Exactly so. So from what we are learning, a lot of people have already deserted the streets and they have gone indoors because tension is very high in Boko as we speak. But what we are told is that the soldiers have immediately, taken over the streets. There's a lot of patrols and a lot of, soldiers who are also moving on foot, trying to secure the town. But what is also happening is that people are keeping indoors for their own safety and also to avoid getting into any trouble with the soldiers because of the recent happening in which civilians were caught on the wrong side with soldiers who eventually fired and killed them, from what we're told in the Ghana Armed Forces statement yesterday. So yes, tension is high. People are keeping indoors for fears of reprisals.
Let me ask a final question before I let you go. Last Friday was some students who were traveling on a bus and they were attacked. One person was injured this afternoon. You are reporting 6 people confirmed dead after being attacked by unknown gunmen. What does it tell about the level of vigilance of the security agencies in the town?
It's the question that a lot of people struggle to answer because even this afternoon, from what we learned, there were a whole lot of military patrols, both in vehicles and some also patrolling on foot. We do not know how these gunmen still manage to outwit the security and ambush vehicles and shoot at passengers. It's something that a lot of the citizens are worried about, and they do not know how it is happening. For a long time now, many of the citizens have been complaining that they have almost lost faith in the ability of the security agencies to protect life and property in Boko. And so this recent one, even with the fact that the number of security personnel, soldiers to be specific, was increased only 2 days ago, is only going to go further to heighten the fears and the mindset that people have that the security are failing at their job.
Well, thank you very much. I will stay safe out there. We'll come back to you if there's any development on this matter because Boko clearly is not going away anytime soon. Let me bring in Dr. Gideon Ofosu-Piasa, who is an analyst with Global Initiative Against Transnational Crime. They conducted a research last year which revealed that the trafficking of high-caliber firearms was fueling the violence in Bawku. He joins me now for more. Dr. Ofosu, I mean, this is not good news. In one breath, we have the view that the security agencies was on top of their game, but clearly things are getting out of hand. The connection is not stable. We'll reconnect with Dr. Fosu so that we can get to understand what they've done. I mean, they've done some research in the past, and they've concluded on how some of these weapons are able to get into Bawku. We will try to find out how their research, what we can learn from it, and how best their research findings can be incorporated to ensure there is some peace and stability in Bawku. Dr. Fosu, if you can hear me, you're welcome back to the pulse. You're enjoying it. I will ask him, recent events does not tell that Bawku is returning to normalcy.
So what we know is that there are some underlying drivers which has not been dealt with. Mm-hmm. We know that the underlying factor significantly has been the chieftaincy conflict. And then due to that, there are also flows of sophisticated arms in recent times. Mm-hmm. It used to be artisanal weapons, but the quest for each of the major ethnic groups to, should I say, kill each other, to wipe out a particular ethnic group is causing the demand for very high sophisticated weapons. And then what we know is that these weapons, there are flows of these sophisticated weapons from Burkina Faso. We know that there are also people from their Libya returnees, and then when they belong to any of these major ethnic groups, they or arms on the illicit market. And then we also know that there are also flows from the port in Tema, whereby some of these weapons even come from the United States of America and then Turkey, and then they are mixed with personal effects, put in containers, and then are brought into the country. Again, what we also know is that there's a significant number of illicit entry routes into the country. There was a report by the one in 2019 which indicated that there are 44 official immigration entry points, but in reality there were 189 unofficial entry points. So the insecurity situation in Burkina Faso, and then we also know that the northern borders have become a havens where some of these armed groups do stay. So there's that kind of connection.
It doesn't appear that the internet is our best friend this afternoon. You were listening to the pulse here on Joy News. We'll re-establish contacts on a clear line with Dr. Ofosu-Piasa. But as you may be aware, this is a conflict that has raged for decades. Records show that the Bawku crisis began even before Ghana gained independence in 1957. Outliving President Kwame Nkrumah and all those who have come after him. So why are the people of Bawku still at war with themselves? Where are they getting the weapons from? Who is sponsoring them? We will seek answers today. In the last week or so, there's been an escalation with at least 7 persons dead and several others injured. In a statement, the Ghana Armed Forces underlined the changing dynamics of the situation, with insurgents now adopting more sophisticated weapons. On Thursday, for instance, there was an attempt by some armed men to blow up a oil fuel station using rocket-propelled grenade. That day, 3 people who the military said had attempted to attack its soldiers on the ground were shot dead, a claim some locals have disputed. That statement also gave a vivid description of what's happening in Bawku. So I'm just going to recap portions of the statement that was released by the Ghana Armed Forces. Soldiers deployed on Operation Media Buri to restore calm in the area have killed 3 innocent Kusasi youth at Sabangidi. Now, assailants, according to the Ghana Armed Forces, were initially held in custody by their troops and subsequently executed. Now, Masinga, assemblyman, personally approached the Boko detachment to negotiate the release of the deceased assailant. That's according to information part from the Ghana Armed Forces and from people we've been speaking to now. 11 mechanized battalion deployed in the Boko indicated that factions to the conflict appear to have resumed escalation of violence with fatal consequences. This is a statement coming from the Ghana Armed Forces. And if we can take you back to what we have reported so far, on January 12, 2024, Issa Halidu was an unidentified gunman. Now, on the 17th of January, 3 persons killed and 4 injured by unknown gunmen. On the same day, or the 17th of January 2024, attempt to light up a rocket-propelled grenade bomb was, unsuccessful. And that same day, 4 gunmen attacked military men on patrol. Military returned fire and neutralized 3 of them. And this, as much as the Ghana Armed Forces regret the demise of the assailants, the escalating violence in the Boko general area is unfortunate, according to the Ghana Armed Forces. The presence and attempt to detonate high explosives such as RPG bombs in the operational environment signposts, clearly, according to the Ghana Armed Forces, is changing the dynamics of the threat portfolio in the Boko enclave. So therefore, it is instructive, according to them, to know that directly engaging the military is a development that could result in fatal consequences, as troops will spare no opportunity to defend themselves as well as protect residents of Boko. Therefore, factions in the Boko conflict, according to the Ghana Armed Forces, are cautioned against drawing the military into direct armed confrontation, whilst efforts are undertaken to resolve the current impasse. So let me go to the lines again and bring in Dr. Gideon Piazza. So Dr. Piazza, you were making a point that there are so many unauthorized routes that people can use to smuggle weapons into the country. And that raises the issue of the level of vigilance of our security agencies. Know very well that Boko is a volatile area.
Yes. So, as I indicated, the data published by the ONEP in 2019 indicated that there are 44 unofficial migration and relative unofficial.
And again, let me apologize for the bad connection there. The internet clearly is not acting right this afternoon, but you are watching the pulse here on Joy News. We are live on DSTV channel 421. We are looking at the recent developments in Boko. In the last hour or so, there's been some, attack on a bus that was carrying some market women. We are told that six people have been confirmed there. Some were injured in the process. You heard our correspondent, Avisori, was reporting live from Boko that the situation has escalated tension in the area. The military are on the streets, ensuring that there is peace and stability in the Boko township. We'll try to get more answers from Boko. But as we have it this afternoon, the latest information is that a bus that was carrying some market women was attacked by unknown gunmen. Six people in the process lost their lives, and some people got injured and have been taken to hospital for further treatment. Dr. Ofosu Piazza, apologies for the bad connection we had earlier on. Now, I am certain that we can have a very meaningful conversation on the telephone. So I asked you earlier about the unapproved routes and how best and what we can do to ensure that these matters are dealt, because that clearly has become the entry point for some of these weapons. Yes, Dr. Fosu, I was asking about the unapproved routes and what, from your estimation, can be done to block them, because clearly that has been the entry point for the weapons.
Yes, so as I indicated, yes, so the immigration and then the country's security forces are aware of that. they usually deploy their men to man these unapproved routes. But because the people do have in those communities who usually transport this smuggled weapons, do know the community so well, they create new routes as and when new ones are identified and then are blocked. And then the borders are so much as it becomes particularly important to have men on approved routes 24/7. So sometimes they are regular patrols, and then they do know when these patrol teams come around and when they leave. So this is an issue that needs to be dealt with. My understanding is that one of the ways that can be dealt with is maybe if the use of technology, if maybe CCTVs or some kind of logistics issue can be done in such a way that there can be some kind of monitoring from a control room along these border lines, because it is also worrying.
So therefore, you are not surprised with what is happening now?
Yes, we are not surprised, because for you to have 489 unofficial entry routes and then new ones being created day in and day out, we are not surprised. We also see some leakages also of these weapons, apart from the smuggling networks that I indicated earlier on. We also see leakages from the official weapon stock. So we see leakages from the police armory, from the military armory. We hear of the police sometimes attacked at checkpoints, their guns stolen, security personnel at border areas manning on approved routes being attacked, and then their weapons stolen. There are some of these weapons that also leave these official armory due to corruption to these people. So we also see that is happening, and then that is also being added to the already existing flow of the manufacture of artisanal weapons. So that is what we are also seeing. And then as we indicated, the underlying drivers, the conflict, their drivers, there is also community support. Community self-defense groups are being formed in Boko, and then these guys are these youth groups are the ones who usually protect these communities, and then they are provided with weapons. Communities will have to contribute money in order to get very much strong weapons so that they can deal with the other opponents. And then when you speak to the security forces, they will tell you that sometimes the sound of these weapons are, if not more, if not more sophisticated than what they have, are equal to the firepower that they have. So these are the dynamics. Some financing from political actors, some financing from business owners that we call conflict-preneurs who benefit from the conflict. So that is what is happening.
And why has it become so difficult for the country, for example, to unmask the beneficiaries of this, this conflict that has raged for years? I mean, the talk of financiers, people who are benefiting from it, faceless individuals. Why has it become so difficult for us to unmask them?
You see, dealing with this, the faceless individuals is not a root cause. You have to deal with the root cause, other than that we'll be dealing with the symptoms. Now, these financiers, community members themselves do contribute to buy these weapons. People belonging to this ethnic group who are well-to-do, who are in the country or out of the country, always receive a lot of pressure from their communities in order to support them, in order to get these weapons to them. And then if they do not do that, they are seen as bad people. But the underlying, there is a root cause, and then the root cause has to do with the chieftaincy issue. So you speak to the people, and then some of the things that they tell you is that there's lack of trust. And then maybe if these issues can be resolved, for instance, if the National House of Chiefs can select, let's say, a high-powered team to look at a way of resolving these issues, maybe some headway will be made. And then that kind of link between these major ethnic groups and then the political parties is something that we need to look out for. We are told that there's a connection. The Mampusis are affiliated to the New Patriotic Party, and then the Kusasis are affiliated to the National Democratic Congress. So depending on which government is in power, a particular ethnic group feels that they should have the power to be able to deal with the other ethnic group. So there are also this underlying political links in there. So we need to deal with the root cause. Other than that, just dealing with the symptoms may not work.
From the weapons angle and from what your research found, what do you consider to be the roadmap to deal with that aspect of the conflict?
Okay, so the recent data we did aimed at looking at the flows. So we did not look at the solutions on how to deal with that. But one of the key things that we heard most of our respondents say is that they would be open for some form of mediation, but this time around, it should be left to the National House of Chiefs to deal with this. So we heard them mention something that, okay, if they have like a high-powered traditional leaders, maybe Otuofor, Asantehene is part of this team, this is a respected person, and there's such a whole of his caliber. If we give them the resources that they need, they can help deal with, how do you call it, the issue. But that was a major thing which came up, although our research did not focus on how these conflicts can be resolved.
But in the circumstances where the municipal chief executive, who is the chairperson of the Municipal Security Council, feels helpless to the extent that he says his own life is at stake, there are certain places he cannot go, even as head of the Security Council, then clearly the situation is clearly getting out of hand.
Yes, you see, this is a trust issue. Now, you know, when we are, the municipal chief executive is the head of DISEC, the regional minister is the head of DISEC, and then there's a lack of trust issue. They will tell you that the municipal chief executive, who is the head, belongs to one ethnic group. The head of the RegSec also belongs to another ethnic group. So there is that lack of trust in the architecture, and then the conflict, they do not have the trust that they can help in resolving the issues. So the people feel that because they belong to a particular ethnic group, sometimes the decisions that they take would be skewed towards the ethnic group that they belong to. So that is what is happening. There's a lack of trust. That is what is happening. That's the reason why they feel that if the National House of Chiefs can be brought into deal with this issue, that would go a long way to help.
All right, Dr. Ofosu-Piasa, thank you very much for sharing some aspects of your research findings. But remember that government some time back, taxed the Asantehene Otumfuo II, together with some chiefs to lead mediation effort to resolve or to bring permanent solution to this matter, just like the Asantehene and the two eminent chiefs did to resolve the Dagbon chieftaincy crisis. Now, the National Chief Imam last night, the National Chief Imam called for ceasefire and asked that peace talks resume. His spokesperson, Sheikh Aremia, who also represents the Chief Imam at the National Peace Council, spoke on behalf of the Chief Imam on the probe with Emefa Apao.
I would wish that we really get our politicians from the northern part of the country to establish a certain united front where both NDC and MPP and the other political parties who are MPs are now talking collectively about the situation and how the situation is dire and the circumstance that is putting the people of Bawku in. You see, the nation is shaming sometimes, for those of us who are peace activists, we are very particular about what we say in public, so that it doesn't undermine our strategy to want to bring the warring factions together at a round table. Once you pass judgment, next time you are calling the person, you are not getting him. And the situation gets more and more aggravated. So we prefer that we identify such people and then probably behind the scenes call them and draw their attention to the evils and the negative impact of what they are doing. So we can speak to their conscience and get them to change in their mindset and also influence the mindset of those people who are there. Young people who could become great people are losing their education. They are becoming more and more poor. They can't go to the farm. They cannot make money. And yet people from far away somewhere are sponsoring these sophisticated weapons that we are talking about.
And this afternoon, there is a campaign by the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons to end gun violence, such as the one we are witnessing in Bawku.
In our world today, gun violence is a real and tragic problem. Every year, thousands of people, including Ghanaians, lose their lives or are injured because of small arms. Some people usually use small arms when there is misunderstanding. But guns are not the solution. They only make the problem worse. Guns only make you vulnerable, not powerful. Gun violence is a threat to our peace and development.
We'll go on the lines, and joining us via Zoom is JB Asante, Senior Programs Officer, National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Also on the line is Adib Sani, is a security analyst who's also paid close attention to the situation in Boko. So we'll start with the Small Arms Commission, and because this is a matter that involves weapons, and now we are told that they are moving from small arms to even using weapons that we see during war. And it's quite interesting. So the Small Arms Commission is a state agency that is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that some of these small arms are out of the system. And they've done a lot of work in the past years to bring some sanity in the country as it relates to people owning weapons and weapons that are not in the hands of people who are qualified to have them. And so the Small Arms Commission Director of Programs will soon join us via Zoom for us to talk about these matters and more as we pay close attention to the escalating situation in Boko, where this afternoon 6 people have died. So, Mr. Asante, you've been following the developments in Boko, and in the last hour, we reported 6 more people confirmed dead after a bus they were traveling on was attacked by unknown gunmen. What is your initial reaction to this as we delve into the issue of small arms? If you can kindly, yes, unmute for me so we can hear you. Mr. JB, can you unmute for me so we can hear you?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I was asking about your initial reaction to the latest development where we are reporting 6 dead, some injured in the latest development in Boko.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very sad situation. Something that all of us are trying to prevent. And I'm sure everybody who hears this news should really be sad that we have to get to this point. So as a commission on small arms and light weapons, that is really a great concern to us because our goal has been to promote safe, peaceful, and gun violence-free societies. And we all know what is happening in Boko. It's something that takes us back so many years so far as our development is concerned. And so we were hoping that we will not get to that point, what is happening in Boko. But I think what is happening in Boko should be a reflection of a bigger picture that as a commission we are all trying to prevent. Because if we do not take preventive measures to make sure that we do not go that way, then all of us are in trouble. Because then our safety and our peace and our security will be in danger. And like the unfortunate incident that has happened today, people who are traveling, innocent citizens, who I'm sure probably don't even know anything about the conflict, having to lose their lives in this way. That is a very, very sad situation. And so we are trying to make sure that we prevent these instances, more of these instances from happening. And of course, we wish what has happened wouldn't have happened. But unfortunately, this is where we are so far as the Boko situation is concerned.
And from where you speak, from the Office of the Small Arms Commission, are you making any headway? Because as if this conflict is happening and people are getting killed because weapons are in play, and weapons that you have been campaigning over the years to take them out from the hands of people who are not authorized to hold them. Are you, from what we are witnessing, do you think that the Commission is doing enough to arrest the situation?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the Commission is doing its best, not only the Commission, and of course when we talk about the Commission, we are talking about a composition of all the security agencies plus other relevant ministries. So the military, the police that we see on the ground, they are all part of the Commission. And so whatever is going on is something that some of the measures that has to be taken to make sure that we bring calm and sanity the Boko municipality. As a commission, for example, we have to establish an office, Boko, for example, where we will be able to carry on, a number of activities, including sensitization. We intended to go to schools and sensitize them, meet with churches, mosques, sensitize all of them, meet with youth groups, women groups, and all that. But unfortunately, because of what is happening, we are not able to do that. So we have to, we have an regional office in Bolga, and we have an officer that oversees Boko. And one of the plans that we have early this year was to, like I said, start embarking on this public education and sensitization in the community, and also have some stakeholders engagement, and together with the National Peace Council, continue with the good work that they are doing.
But there's an office operational in Boko.
Because, sorry?
I asked if your office is very operational in Boko.
No, we are not in Boko, like I said, because of the current situation. So we have an officer who is based at Bolga, but who oversees what is going on, in Boko. So because of the conflict situation, it is difficult.
So and even so, Mr. JB, even the Small Arms Commission that is working to retrieve arms from hands that these weapons are not supposed to be, has run away from the place.
No. So as a commission, as the secretariat, we do not retrieve weapons from the system. So like I said, that the commission consists of other security agencies. And that is what the police and the military are doing. They are on the ground, making sure that sanity and peace prevail. But a commission as a secretariat, we do not wield weapons, so we cannot just go into a community with this kind of situation to retrieve arms. And I don't know if you heard the MC speak on Saturday that such a move had been made.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when they did their search, they couldn't retrieve any weapon. And I have been saying this, that is one of the difficulties involved. Because people say, why don't you conduct a search and make sure you retrieve all these weapons? And it's not that simple. They don't keep the weapons in their homes. Where they keep their weapons, it's not easy for the security agencies even to find them. So that is one of the challenges that we have. And you see, until the people of Boko themselves agree or comes to the realization that they need to put the weapons down and begin to talk peace, it is very difficult, very, very difficult. You spoke to the doctor who had done a lot of research. He told you about how porous our borders are, the number of unapproved routes that we have. See, it is very difficult for the security agencies to be along all these borders. So, unfortunately, the weapons have already infiltrated into the Boko community, and that is what is being used to cause these mayhem.
So, for the experience, what should be done?
Yes, so we need, the people of Boko really need attitudinal change. We need to do a lot more engagement. We need to engage with them. And like the earlier speaker said, what L24 has started to do, we all need to support him. We all need to see how best we can support them to get the two factions together, to come and dialogue, to understand, to let bygone to bygone, to forgive. You see, because it's like yesterday you killed a loved one, and today I'm also targeting at killing a loved one. It becomes a cycle. So each and every day, something is happening because someone wants to avenge the death of somebody. Someone still, wants to settle scores. And until they come to the round table, until they agree that, look, at a point we need to stop fighting and begin to talk about peace. For the sake of our mothers, for the sake of our children, for the sake of our grandparents, for the sake of the vulnerable. People are losing lives who don't really have anything to do with the source of the conflict. So like the earlier speaker ahead of me said, we need to deal with the root cause. It's really bringing about this conflict. That is what we need to deal with. If not, even if we take out weapons, firearms, people will still resort to other means of becoming violent in the name of fighting to either avenge or for their own kind of justice And so we really need to be able to bring the two factions together and help them to talk and agree that it's enough is enough. And we need to put a stop to this conflict because it's affecting our own people and it's not bringing any development to the community of Bawku.
All right, Mr. J.B. Asante, thank you very much for joining us on the pause. Folks, Bawku is part of Ghana. We cannot give up on Bawku, no matter the circumstances. All we can do is hope and pray that they allow peace to prevail in the community. You're watching the pause. Join us. We're taking a short break. When we return, we'll talk about the strike that is beginning to bite in our public universities. Now they are threatening to extend it to teaching hospitals that are associated with the universities. How would that impact on people who are seeking medical care at some of these university hospitals? We'll have that after the break. This is the pause. Stay right there. Welcome back to the pause here on Joy News. Now let me take you to the public universities because the Senior Staff Association of Public Universities in Ghana is vowing to continue with its strike until government addresses, among others, demands for better conditions of service and also ensure the payment of their Tier 2 pension funds to its fund managers. Shortly, we will be joined in the studios by the leadership of the association. First, let's touch base with my colleagues who are on the ground checking the impact the strike is having on students and the running of the public university. Kenneth Jesse was at the University of Ghana here in Accra and joins us via Zoom. Kenneth, earlier when we spoke in the afternoon, you were at a meeting where the leadership were taking some key decisions. Bring us up to speed on what transpired.
Right, Elton, the strike has since expanded to include the Teachers Education Workers Union and together with the Senior Staff Association of the University of Ghana branch. They are not going back to their duties until their concerns are addressed. Key amongst them is their Tier 2 pension, which the complaint is not being paid for the past 3 to 4 years. And then they're saying that the last time they met with government was in 2023, and nothing substantial came out of that meeting, and that they are not really happy with what is going on. So they are not returning to their duties until something is done about it. So the services that are affected include the university primary school, the departments, the halls, and all that. And after that meeting, they went around the various departments to ensure that their members were compliant to the directive. And they said some of them are trying to sabotage the strike because some of them have decided to go behind them and go to work. And then they've been threatened by the authorities that if they do not return, especially the drivers, they're going to pick, for example, retired drivers to come back and then perform the duties of the ones who are supposed to do it. So the ones who are supposed to do the work that they're supposed to do, and so they are warning the retired drivers, in particular, not to intervene and go and take the jobs of the ones who are supposed to do it, and they want government to intervene as quickly as possible.
So paint for me the picture you witnessed when you visited the campus of the University of Ghana, for example, or how is academic life, unfolding in the absence of these stuff.
Well, luckily, unlike other universities, the hospital is still working. The school clinic is also still working. If you go to the University of Cape Coast, for instance, they shut all of those down, and the University of Ghana branch is warning that if nothing is done, they're giving the government an ultimatum. If nothing is done, they're going to extend the strike to include the hospital and also the security department, which is also functioning. So these are the only two departments, which include the Senior Staff Association of the university, that are still functioning. The university primary school, which has most of the members' kids attending, is shut down. No activities whatsoever is going on there. So that's the situation on the University of Ghana campus.
So aluta continua.
Exactly.
All right, thank you very much, Kenneth. Let me touch base with my colleague at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Emmanuel Bright Kweku. Emmanuel, this afternoon, you gave me a scare when you said that the striking university workers are threatening to extend this to the KNUST hospital. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, definitely, Elton. So earlier in my engagement with the authorities or leaders for the local chapter, they were telling me that if government does not meet their demands, they will be extending this particular strike to the university hospital, where they have some of these nurses, sonographers, and even other staff there who they would have to force them to withdraw their services. And so that is what they are threatening. But when you go to the KNUST Basic School campus, well, when I went there, I saw some of the students around, quite a number of them, but their teachers were not around. They had abandoned classrooms, so the students were teaching themselves. They had to take to self-learning, so you have some of their colleagues teaching them. And even those that in classrooms where you find any of the teachers around, they are actually the national service personnel or some casual workers around. But the teachers themselves, who fall under the Senior Staff Association, they are not at post as we speak now, and they are threatening they are even advising the university staffers, that's the lecturers who have their students, and even the members of the public who have their students at the KNUST Basic School to withdraw their students, because if the government does not meet their demands, they will be forced to shut down the school. So on campus, that is what is really happening. When I went there, what I also observed was that they took to the streets. They were clad in red, took to the streets of the KNUST campus and marched all the way from the commercial area of KNUST to the administration of the university, where they were also ensuring that some of their members do not even be at post. So they just make them move out of the offices and ensure that nobody is working and in demand or as they vent their displeasure against the government. So, Elton, that is what is really happening on the KNUST campus.
Apart from the KNUST primary school, on campus itself, is it having any impact? Is it having any impact on academic work, on administrative work?
Yeah, so for administrative work, it's really impacting them. But for the lectures, it's not really impacting, because, these lectures fall under the senior members of the university, and the senior staffers, they are different from the university hierarchy. So when you come, the senior members, that's the lecturers, they are working, but the senior staff, who are the administration officers, who are teachers at the basic school, and even some security personnel are not there as we speak now.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Bryce Kweku from Lab FM, reporting towards the situation as it exists on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So why are we here? This is why the strike was called. So, government refusal to release Tier 2 pension contribution since February 2023. Some will say this is just less than 1 year old, so why have we taken this discussion? We'll hear from the president who is in the studio with us. In previous instances between 2010 and 2016, where government withheld Tier 2 contribution, they claim is that government was deliberate about it. Now, there's been disputes over penalty rates and interest calculation leading to financial losses for members. That is one of the claims that has been put forth by the striking university workers. To go further on this matter, so there's a Tier 2 pension contribution. They think that government has not been forthright in the release of the Tier 2. There's also a dispute over penalty rates and interest calculation leading to financial losses for members. And I've also heard that the claim is that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has come to the conclusion that they are not deserving of extra duty allowance, and they are contesting this matter as well. So they also retirees facing poverty and illness due to denied lump sums, abrupt directive from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and GTEC to cut off overtime allowances for weekend and holiday work, contradicting the Labour Act. So these are some of the things that they feel that government has not been fair with them on this matter. Now, Mark Dintra Crunchy, General Secretary of TEU, that's Tertiary Educational Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress, joins me here in the studio. Mark, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So you've joined the strike.
I'm actually a student leader.
All right.
So the name goes by Patrick Kusiedi.
Yeah, sorry about that.
University Student Association of Ghana President.
Right. So, from where you sit and looking at what is happening, how are you hoping that this is resolved?
All right. So, thank you very much. First of all, I'll begin by greeting the viewers for having the time for us. As a student leader, my duty is not only covering the academic work or the academic aspect, and so it means that all other fields of activity that has got to do with the life of every individual student in our various tertiary institutions or the university community. As a USAC president, I'm really concerned about that, and it's my duty to make sure that things are always in line on their behalf. Now, coming to the Senior Staff Association strike, the nationwide strike, someone will say it has not have any direct impact on academics, but I would say it is really bleeding us white, and things are really going on wrong in our various institutions. And the report I've been having is that they are not awake. And when you see that these people, we have administrators, we have security men, we have HODs, we have people who are in their various JCRCs who also make sure that the hall runs day in and day out, and they are not coming to work. They are not actually on duty as I talk to you now. And
they have provided reasons why they are not at work.
Yes, they have provided reasons. And with my conversation that I had with some of the executive of the Senior Staff Association, is not only about their Tier 2 pensions and the pay, it's also about their condition of services. Now, we know that, coming to the condition of services, we know that for every overtime that they work, so let's say when we are on vacation and these security men have to be on duty during the vacations, during the Xmas, they have to receive a compensation from the government. But then here's the case that they are saying they are not going to give it to them. And so it has propelled such an intention for them to go on strike. And it's really worrying to the point that it has also dug deep or crept into our academic works. As I talk to you now, when you go to most of our lecture theaters, the administrators over there are not working, and the people to fix the projectors, the people to fix the boards, the microphones are not there, and students are overcrowded. You can't hear the lectures, and it's indirectly is affecting us.
So regardless of maybe how small their contribution is, it is impacting.
It is impacting. Yes. And the report I received this morning was that when you go to KUST campus, all the drivers, they've laid down their keys. No one is at work today. All the drivers. So with all the shuttle drivers, they are not working today. And come and see how the students are struggling, how they have to walk from one place to another, looking at how distant these lecture halls are. And so right after these lectures, he has to move. By the time he gets there, the class is almost over. And it's really affecting academics. In fact, we plead with the government that they actually put a human face to this and resolve it for us.
Well, in terms of resolution, and we are hoping that we'll get to hear from the leadership of the university workers, because last week, for example, the Fair Wages Commission said they were hoping to deal with the matter. They've made some pronouncement on this matter. The National Labour Commission says that their strike is making it difficult for them to bring some resolution to the matter. So the hope is that they will call off the strike, and then so that they can have a sit-down discussion on this matter. Now, what we are hearing this afternoon is that they may want to even escalate it to cover those of their members who are working in the teaching hospitals. Yeah. That, for me, is quite serious. Yeah. What more are you demanding from authorities to do to face this one? Because I understand that some who are due for graduation is really doing it.
Yes. Personally, I have to graduate coming Wednesday.
You have no idea when it's going to happen.
Whether I'm going to graduate or not. But then, when you look at their complaints and what the government is actually saying is that they should have been on meeting. I mean, they should have had a meeting with the government last week Friday.
Right.
But then the meeting couldn't hold. As I talk to you now, the SSA SSA are in meeting with the government as we talk right now, trying to resolve issues and all that. And from them, probably the government has started doing something about it, because the information reaching me is that the government have been able to pay from March to April. That is their pension period. That's 2023, from March to April. That was on the last Friday. And so they are still complaining that it is not enough, because from March to April, that's just 2 months. What about the remaining months? And so we are pleading with the government that kindly attend to their needs, because it's really affecting. We don't know what is going to happen next, the long-term effects and all that. Because right after this, when these people go on strike, aside the lectures and everything, we have quizzes and all those things to write, and we need people to also help us. The HODs, they are not around to even rectify mistakes and all that for us.
I don't see any end in sight as of now.
No. We haven't seen anything as well.
Have you been in touch with the leadership?
Yes.
How willing are they to, or should government meet, let's say, part of the demands?
All right, so you see, every problem is a way to solve a problem is all about communication. And from my engagement with the SSA treasurer, and the information reaching me is that they are ready to call the strike off if the government is being able to, put something on the table, or to tell them something that will really convince them that, okay, fine, everything, we have to just come and work and do it. But then if the government doesn't say it, it's really going to escalate and go beyond even the number of days we are having right now.
So, let's clarify this. Is academic work ongoing at the universities?
Yes. So academic work is ongoing because UTAG is not on strike, right, and the lectures are every day coming to the lecture house. But then the quality of it is depreciating, and that is what we don't like. A lecture may come to the lecture house, as I was using as an example. I had an example already that the lecture may come to the lecture hall, but then if
the people to help work effectively,
are not around. Now the lecture halls, in fact, the various rooms that contains the microphones, the projectors, everything, the people to work on those materials are even not around for a quality teaching and all those things. And we can count the number of days these people have been on work, and you can tell how this thing has also impacted their life. Has had an effect on them. So it's really worrying, and we are calling on the government that if there is anything positive that he can do about this, he should come to their aid. And we will also plead with SSA that they should also put a human face to this and attend to the students for us. Because
as we are on this matter, let me just bring it to your attention that TEU is also on strike. We've just gotten a statement from the Tertiary Education Workers Union, that's TEU. They've also announced a strike. And the Teachers and Education Workers Union associates itself with the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana in the issues culminating in a current nationwide strike. It is noteworthy that the demand for Tier 2 pension payment and the restoration of payment of stopped agreed allowances were among the myriad of issues listed on the petition to the National Labour Commission of October 2023, which almost led to another joint non-teaching staff union strike in the public universities. Now, it is obvious, according to TEU, that the patience of the universities' workers has waned, and the continued lethargy of government agencies in addressing labour issues will no more be entertained. TEU of TUC is, by this statement, calling on its members in the public university to join the ongoing strike in solidarity, and especially on the non-payment of Tier 2 pension contribution by government that is outstanding for 9 months. TEU is calling on government to immediately pay the 9-month Tier 2 pension contribution arrears of workers of public universities to ensure dignified retirement. We wish to serve notice, and notice is hereby served, that the Teachers and Educational Workers Union has joined the strike declared by the Staff Association of Universities of Ghana. It is hoped that the smooth running of Ghana's public universities will be reversed in a swift response of the government agencies to forestall disruption in academic calendar. And this is coming from TEU. So it looks like we are moving from the University Senior Staff Associations to now TEU. And TEU, they play key roles in the running of public universities. So therefore, you are not going to find people ensuring that the bathroom, for example, is clean, the lecture hall is clean, the university campus itself is clean. So that's another big issue.
It's another big. Personally, I've been a hall president before. I'm in Kenya, University of Cape Coast. I was a VALCO hall president, and you see how beneficial these people are to us. And when you wake up early in the morning and you want to take your bath, you want to, clean yourself and everything. The moment you get there, you see that the bathrooms and everything is clean. And without their presence, things are really going to be in a mess. We don't know when we are going to wake up to take our bath, when to get to the lecture halls on time and all that. So if these people are also going to join them, it's going to be something big.
And already UTAG is also on the fringes.
Yes.
Pissing in here and there and saying that government act on our concerns, otherwise you leave us with no choice.
I think for last week we were able to meet the UTAG president, Professor Jampo, and from his conversation he says that they are giving the government the end of this month. If they are not able to provide what they need, they are also going to join the strike.
So, a student, how does all of this make you feel?
We are feeling insecure. I would say academically we are feeling insecure, and all the other aspects combined, because looking at how the future is not promising. I'm not saying the future is not promising, as in, but then in the short while the future is not promising, because we have a fixed academic calendar, and if these people are to join on strike, we don't know, we can't measure the repercussion that is going to have on us, because UTAG is on strike, TU is on strike, SSA is on strike. Then it means that it's more like we're on vacation. We were the academic calendar, the time and the day is always running and running and running. And so we will say that, as I've already said, the government should come in. Probably we don't know the conditions, what they're actually demanding from the government. But then if it is something that the government can do something about immediately, he should speed up.
Before I let you go, as rep of the student front, we are in 2024. Election is just 11 months away. What are your expectations? I mean, if not for this strike, I'm sure that you are rehearsing ahead of Wednesday to graduate and then join the labor market. How, first of all, your expectation of the political leadership and the promises that they will be making to us from the students from, what are your expectations?
All right, so thank you very much. I more often than not, I hear people say that it's not good for a student leader to join a politics, or probably to have a say in a national discourse, a political discourse. And I feel that it's very bad and it's wrong, because when you measure news, their data, we have almost 30 million students in our country. And so almost 30 million students is a huge stakeholder when it comes to national decision making. And so I always feel like students are also part of national discourse and have a say in that.
In fact, not to actually cut you short, but the last election in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, I mean, the claim was made that the reason why a particular candidate didn't get much vote was the fact that the students were out of campus. Sure. And that played a key role in the outcome of the election.
So that shows how important students are. And so due to that, we have a say, especially when it comes to the university front. We have a say in national discourse, because almost every university student is eligible to vote, probably more than 18 years to even vote when it comes to elections. And as part of our process, or as part of the things that we have put in place in order to assess their policies, whether it's going to help us or not, we are even coming out with plans and programs like leadership reflection, where we are navigating the past, the present, and the future educational policies. And we assess them so that at least we can foster a meaningful policy assessment in our country. And so these are some of the things that, aside that we have a lot of programs that we are going to invite these people on board and make sure that they also come on board and give us their promises, their plan that they have for us, so that when we are voting, we know that, okay, this is who we are voting for, and this is that we are voting for. You know, USAG doesn't belong to any political party. It's independent on any political party. And so we have a say when it comes to all these things and all that. Yes.
Wow, so that's the president of USAG Party.
Thank you very much.
I'm praying that on Wednesday the strike will be off so that you can graduate peacefully.
Thank you very much. I will definitely graduate.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through. Right, you're still watching the polls here on Joy News. Now, let's talk about electricity, because in the last few days or weeks, there's been intermittent power outages here and there. The ECG will come up with a statement. People are still not convinced. The claim is that we are back in the Dumsor era. But the Electricity Company of Ghana says it is, and then there's also the issue of VAT, 15% imposition of VAT on electricity that you consume. Now, the ECG this afternoon says that it is just to implement the 15% value-added tax on power consumed by customers above the lifeline levels. As of government's post-COVID recovery plan, the finance minister officially notified the country's very distributory network through the Ministry of Energy to impose a levy on power consumers above lifeline levels, a policy which it says should take effect from January. By external communications manager of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Leila Abubakar, tells Joy News the ECG needs a bit more time to understand how to implement the new regime. She also touched on how the company is dealing with a debt obligation to independent power producers. She'll be speaking to my colleague, Blaise Soga.
So the value-added tax announcement that came into effect in January has appalled a lot of our customers. The truth of the matter is that we haven't started implementing it, even though that letter says that it should have been activated in January. The reason being, we still have to understand how to implement this tax. So we are having active conversations with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ghana Revenue Authority, and with other stakeholders who have also brought their concerns forward. So for now, there's no value-added tax as announced included in residential tariff or residential customers buying electricity. For now, it's still the old status quo. When you buy, there's no VAT added to residential customers buying bills.
So are you equally engaging stakeholders to perhaps resolve some of inter-stakeholder challenges that may be affecting power supply across the country?
We've maintained an active engagement with our stakeholders, who mostly comprise of the power generators, to have them on the same page with us in terms of payments. I think since last year, our revenue generation has increased, and we found the way of ring fencing or having an agreement with the IPPs to hold on to the legacy debts that we owe them. But we are very up to date with the current bills that come to our desk. We try as much as possible to pay off those debts so that they can also function as businesses. And for any other issues that might be within, yes, usually we have engagements with all the stakeholders that are in.
Then your final comment on the VAT.
So what is clear is that the ECG has yet to start the implementation of the 15% VAT on electricity, even though government directed that beginning January 1, 2024, that should take place. The ECG has been explaining why they are yet to implement that policy directive from the Minister for Finance. But let's focus on other matters, because the continuous dwindling of donor support is mounting intense pressure on third world countries to be creative in sourcing funds to endanger development. The challenge has, however, been how to do it and from where. As development advocates, various civil society organizations and NGOs have been leading the cause in various forms, including philanthropic gesture, but just to the benefits of a few. In a bid to broaden the nets and its impact, the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, the non-governmental organization which monitors the philanthropy space in Ghana, to put a global perspective on specific issues such as poverty, inequality, global health, education, climate change, human rights, among others, has held a third Philanthropy New Year School. How did the school fare? And what would change with regards to sourcing funds to support development at the national and local community level? Dr. Ben Okra is Executive Director of Philanthropy, and he's joining us in the studio to throw more light on this matter. Doctor, many thanks for your time and welcome to the pause.
Thank you very much.
So why has it become so difficult for third world countries especially to get donor supports in the last few years?
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to the studio. So, well, this has been a global issue, and one is because of the new economic status of our country. Then also
lower middle income status.
The lower middle income status, which has pushed us beyond certain boundaries, and that has actually limited us as far as funding is concerned. It's also because of the lack of trust for sector actors, NGOs and philanthropy actors within the ecosystem.
Lack of trust, as in people are not truthful in the utilization of the donor funds?
Yes, reporting problems. They are not transparent as to what they get. They are not accountable to donors as well as, I would say, stakeholders.
Meaning of crooks.
There are a lot of crooks
in the sector.
Exactly.
So people write nice proposals to get funding, and then they don't use it for the purpose for which they were provided with the funds.
Exactly.
How rampant or how serious is this development in the space?
It is very serious, especially looking at it from the point of view of the pandemic after 2020 when the COVID era. That was where it started. And during the time of the COVID, most NGOs or civil society organizations didn't actually know what to do. We were all taken aback, not prepared. Government came into the space and did a lot of humanitarian activities. At that point, we were just standing and looking, okay? And then along the line, we caught up, and then there were strategies and innovations and creativity as to how to address some of these issues, and we came in. But then that was, on the large scale, driven by grassroots support, local support, because the foreign funds, the foreign philanthropic capital wasn't coming. So then we have to dwell on our own humanitarian efforts and other things, which was really good. From the faith-based sector and also from the CSO or philanthropic actor space.
So where people go contrary to the lay-down principle, what happens?
Well, normally, when you do that, then perhaps your principal donor may cut off funds. You may not get it. And sometimes it can become criminal and you can be, taken to court or anything of that sort. So during the Philanthropy New Year School, we were able to treat certain topics as far as accountability, good bookkeeping, record keeping was concerned. We brought the NPO Secretariat, which is the body that regulates NGOs and CSOs on the national space, to give us some insight into as far as regulation and what our obligations, the NGOs' obligations are. And it was a process for us to learn, a process for us to know our obligations, and also to help, sector players to know how to conduct themselves within the space. So the school it's one of the means by which you bring theory and practice together, because we have some professors from the universities. We have 3 professors and a number of PhD holders who were treating different topics, ranging from project concept design, development, evaluation, reporting and things like that, which is going to help with accountability and also trust within the space. So in a nutshell, we are saying that there is a knowledge gap because the NGO or CSO sector is a free space. There's always new entrants. Some students finish school and they want to become philanthropic. People are going on retirement, they want something to do, and they fall into that space. They come in without any practical experience. So we thought that having a school like this would do us good by moving the frontier of knowledge and also helping us acquire the necessary skills and competence to be able to conduct ourselves in the right manner so that we are not, falling back.
Because the claim out there for many is that the many non-governmental organizations we have in the country, not all of them, some of them, only exist because they want to use it as an avenue to get money from donor countries for their own personal use, and that their commitment to whatever they preach is not really there.
Yes, so that has been one of the issues, and the Ghana Philanthropy Forum has been trying to do something about that in terms of helping the sector to become more credible. So we have what we call Verify for Good or Validate for Good. And that is in partnership with some of our international bodies. And what we are intending to do is we do a regular validation of NGOs around the country each year or every 2 years.
Has there been sanctions in the past where maybe some NGOs have, their license, whether licenses exist, their licenses are withdrawn because of misconduct?
I have not heard about that, even though there is a requirement on all NGOs to obtain a licensing from the NPO Secretariat after you have registered with the Registrar General Department. So there's a licensing that is required to be renewed every year. And that is very tedious because then they have to verify the background of your board of directors and so on, the top management team, to be sure that they have no criminal background and all that. So we are in the process of cleaning the space.
I'm actually asking this question because, in fact, there's this very popular slogan which says that we have so many non-governmental organizations operating in the northern part of the country, yet the reason why they are there, to sort of, not to eradicate, but to reduce to the barest minimum the high level of poverty in the area. Yes, poverty is very high. Yes, you have so many NGOs operating under the same umbrella.
Very true. Very true. We have all types of NGOs. We have individuals, we have groups of 2, groups of 3. Some of them are not even registered. We call them CBOs, community-based organizations, and they are also operating. And we know that every year a number of them get registered with the Registrar General Department. But if you go to the NPO Secretariat for now, to want to ascertain which NGOs are actually in good status that have obtained license to operate, I don't think we would find more than 10,000. It's ranging between 7,000 and 10,000 who are, we say they are legitimate, they are credible, they are working on the ground, and they are following the due process in terms of renewing their registrations. And
so who monitors? Who monitor and evaluates their activities?
Is the NPO Secretariat.
And are they doing their work well?
Yes, the Secretariat was set up, I think, 2 years ago as a result of the NPO policy that was passed. Now we have a bill that is soon going to go into Parliament.
Sponsored by government?
Sponsored by government.
Okay.
And then there's going to be a commission that is set up, and there's going to be a commissioner. So then the regulation and all of that will be more stringent than it is at the moment. So it's a way to get the space more organized. And
so the New Year School, what are some of the things you came up with?
The New Year School was a great one. We had a lineup of instructors from the US and other places. And one of the things that we think we have acquired is the networking. And also the opportunity for practice and theory to come together, so there's a synchronization so that we can move the frontier of knowledge in terms of theories and concepts that have been developed in the universities. The practical, the practitioners can also make an input as to moving that forward. Then also we treat a subject in an area of how to manage organizations, NGOs, and especially with designing proposals, implementation, accountability, record keeping, evaluating, how to, be visible, and more importantly, professionalism within the sector. That has not been treated for some time now. Okay. It's an opportunity for us to also unearth and to share some of the learnings that some of the leaders within the space have gone through by way of conferences that they have attended in the in abroad, which some of our colleagues may not have the benefit or the strength or the resources to attend. So we kind of do some kind of a debriefing so that we all are abreast with development trends around the world as far as NGOs are concerned.
So this bill that is yet to go to Parliament, the aim is to regulate the activities of NGOs.
Yes.
So I want to believe that you have had your inputs already. Or
yes, but there's a final consultation with the space, with the NGO body that is expected to take place within a month or two before it finally gets to Parliament.
And you expect that this bill will be passed?
Yes. This year, yes. Yes.
All right. So in the absence of the donor flow, how are you operating?
Some NGOs within the sector are actually going 2 legs. They have their private social enterprises and also the NGOs. Most are using their salaries and their own income in running their organizations. But then there are some also developing innovative ways in terms of fundraising. Fundraising, has different forms. This time we have the crowdfunding and the proposal writing to their techniques as to how to go about it. So we learned about developing good proposals, and also concept note. When do you submit a concept note, and in what fractional state does it have to be? So it is tough, but then we are moving on.
We are moving on.
Yes.
But how would you rate the contribution of NGOs in the development of the country?
It is very key. Besides the fact that they also contribute to meeting the SDGs, they also contribute towards the attainment of our local national goals also. They also contribute to peace and stability, just as we think of churches do, because they also provide humanitarian needs to people within the communities that maybe government might not have been there, but they do all that. So I think they contribute positively. But it is very difficult for government institutions to kind of value the place of NGOs within the country. But I think it is time for us to see them as a strong force whose contributions goes a long way in pushing the country to the goal that we want to attain.
What more can be done to make them more accountable, more transparent in the discharge of their duties?
Yeah, I think the policies and regulations of government should be friendly. They should not just be to control, but they should aid. They should provide an enabling environment so that they can improve. One of the things that is lacking is incentives for giving, because they are not people who give, or donors don't get any incentive. There's no motivation to keep giving. I think that corporate bodies and individuals who might have made substantial donations to non-profit organizations should have some tax breaks.
I'll actually come into that about the level of taxation you experience in your work.
The level of taxation that
we
experience
in your work.
Yes, the level of taxation. Yeah, we pay some taxes. We pay taxes for our employees. If you purchase some product or items or resources for use within the NGO, you normally would have to pay taxes. There's a percentage that is paid. Beyond certain threshold, you pay taxes on it, and we do.
All right, so, I mean, bringing this discussion home, so what are you doing in terms of leveraging on the outcome of the New Year School to advance the development in your core areas?
Yeah, during the conference, there were teams that actually came up that some groups have already come together to develop policy documents on, and I think that is very, very helpful to have stuff like that. Then also we have a backup. We have follow-up events post this conference, which is taking place at KNUST come February 15th, and also this Thursday we have a backup, a follow-up training at the University of Ghana Business School.
Dr. Okra, I would like to give you your parting words before you leave us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you so much for coming, and we hope and pray that hopefully next time will come. Some of the things that you discussed at the New Year School would have, matured in the way you conduct your business in the country.
Yes,
and I want to congratulate you because the work of the non-governmental organization is very key and very important as we advance the development of this country. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're still watching The Pulse here on Joy News. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look ahead of the Black Stars game against Mozambique, a make or break affair. Are we going to advance to the 1/16 stage of the AFCON, or are we going to park our bag and come back home? The outcome in the next few hours. But we'll come back to assess the chance of the team ahead of that crucial game with Mozambique at 8 p.m. tonight. So in less than 4 hours, the senior national team, the Black Stars, will face Mozambique in their last Group B match, which will determine if they will progress to beyond the group stage of the African Cup of Nations football tournament currently holding in La Côte d'Ivoire. Now the Stars are currently at the bottom of Group B and must secure a victory to stand a chance of qualifying for the next stage of the competition. So my colleague Anas Sabit has been interacting with some Ghanaian fans in Abidjan who are optimistic that the Black Stars will sail through. Here's his report.
The African Cup of Nations enters its third round of matches in the group stages, and today the Black Stars of Ghana will be locking horns with the Mozambicans in that crucial encounter that will determine who seals its ticket to the next stage of the competition. Ahead of this particular crucial encounter, we hit the streets here in Churchville to gauge the expectations of the Ghanaian community or the Ghanaian fans who are here in their numbers to show their support behind the Black Stars of Ghana. Let's have a listen to what their expectations are ahead of that game against Mozambique.
As a Ghanaian, Black Stars are our only team that we have, so we must give them maximum support for them to win tomorrow. So I'm sure that we are going to do better than what they do against Egypt.
We are expecting nothing but victory.
And we are just encouraging our brothers in Ghana that they should keep on praying, both Muslims and Christians. They should intensify their prayers because tomorrow's match is going to determine whether we are winning the trophy or not.
Tomorrow, inshallah, we are going to win by 3-1 or 3-0.
Yeah, Kudus will score, and then the other one is Dreadlocks, Majid. So we are going to score them 2-1 or 2-0.
So here in Ghana, in the Greater Accra region, my colleague Kenneth Jesse visited Nima, Nima, the birthplace of Black Stars talisman Mohamed Kudus. The fans there are confident of victory.
Defeat to Mozambique tomorrow means the Black Stars will definitely be out of the Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast, unless results from the other teams in the group go our way. We're in Nima, the birthplace of the poster boy of Black Stars, Mohamed Kudus, to ask football fans what they think the chances of Black Stars are ahead of the game against Mozambique. You'll have Enjoy News. Do you think the Black Stars can beat Mozambique tomorrow and qualify?
Inshallah, for sure, if the coach did the right thing by putting in the right players at the right positions. Because Nike Williams we used to watch him at Atletico Bilbao. He used to strike from the wings. But now we are seeing a different things altogether. And you see, this player, Richard Lamptey, even though he's a local player, I think is better, far better than some of the so-called professional players. You should give him a chance. He can give us results. Doing the right thing, we are going to beat Mozambique, inshallah, tomorrow.
Right. Let me ask you, what did you think of the last match that we played? How did you think of our performance against Egypt?
It was a much improved game. For me, they did so very well. In fact, the whole team came to the party. Right. Every single player came to the party. They were all good. I think just that there were no chances that were created. Like he mentioned about Inaki Williams. Inaki Williams is a very good player who needs the services of a very good ball passer. The likes of ACN, Wakasu, and it appears we don't have those type of players in our midfield. So you find out that Inaki Williams will do all the runs and comes back. Nobody fits him with the passes. Even Asamoah would have suffered with such a team.
So what do you think we should do against Mozambique so that we can beat them?
So we need a supplier, somebody who can feed the strikers, you understand, create the chances. Our last game against Egypt, the chances didn't come. It was just some small opportunities Muntari made very good use of. But we needed to create at least 4 or 5 chances and get 2 inside. And I'm very hopeful that the next game we will win. No matter what, Ghana is qualifying by the grace of God. I think we are qualifying.
Yeah, yes. Let's talk about Mohamed Kudus, who scored 2 goals for the Black Stars in our last match against Egypt. Do you think he could be the difference maker going ahead into the game?
Difference. Our next one is going to score again. So that's what we are expecting.
But if he scores and then we concede, that means we are unlikely to qualify. What do we do?
He's going to score and win, and we win.
Have you been impressed so far with the Black Stars' performance at this tournament?
Not really, but the second match was a very much improvement from the first match.
So the thing about Ghana is that we have so many coaches, but everybody is a coach in Ghana. Everybody has his own tactics and strategy that will help Ghana advance to the next stage of the competition. But what exactly is the coach saying, the guy who is paid with the taxpayers' money to deliver as a victory? Chris Coulson is confident of victory.
Aware of the magnitude of this game. We know that this is a game that we have to win. Our preparation going into the game has been the same as in the 2 previous games, and all we can do is prepare the team to play a very tough match, as all of these games are. And to make sure that we put in a level of performance that allows us to win the game.
So we are just hours away from, few hours actually, not so much of hours, few hours away from kickoff at 8 p.m. Ghana time. So how is the team prepared, and are they ready to take on the challenge that they are going to face from the Mozambicans. Let me take you live there. My colleague Muftau Nabila is in Abidjan for us. Muftau, you're welcome. Is everything set and ready to go?
Everything is set. I'm not sure there's anyone who is more motivated for this game than the players themselves. I've had the privilege of interacting with some of these players, and the sense I get is that they are in for redemption. They are very much aware that they haven't started so well, but all hope are not lost. What they believe is that they've had a very jerky start to this campaign, and it is important that they right the wrong. We all heard from Dennis Odoi talk about how the players failed to occupy the lines so that they wouldn't allow the opponent to take their chances. And in this encounter, it is important they occupy the spaces and ensure that Ghana is able to nullify the opponent, create opportunities, and score. Psychologically, these boys, what I have gotten from them, suggests that they actually feel this is a tournament that is more of a do or die affair, because a chunk of them actually believe that it is more of a disservice to themselves and to Ghanaians if they are not able to do well and exit the competition back to back. There are certain things that, or certain conversations that I have the privilege to, when I had the opportunity of going to the team hotel and all that I wouldn't like to put on record. But I get a sense that these are boys who are very committed to the cause of Ghana, and they believe that later tonight they will be able to secure a win against Mozambique.
So the determination is there, but on paper we don't look too good. I mean, we've played for 2 games. We've lost 1, we've drawn 1. We have scored 3 goals, conceded 4. That doesn't look good for a team that is seeking to advance to the next stage of the competition.
Well, the fact is that Ghana must win each game. A win is non-negotiable, and if Ghana wins, that will give Ghana 4 points. This is a competition that 4 other teams which are best placed in their group can also qualify to the next phase of the competition. So as you speak right now, it's just a win and nothing more. If you have paid attention to this competition so much, you realize that there are so many draws in the other game. So what it means is that Ghana must win each game, or else if another team that has got 3.1 points is also able to win each last game, that team will also get 4 points. So it makes it quite tricky. But the hope of many Ghanaians is that, in fact, I had a conversation with Steve Napier. For this one, I can put it on record. When I was speaking to Steve Napier, he told me that that game between the Verde and Egypt is very tricky. So Ghanaians can be hopeful that the Verde can frustrate Egypt. However, they should not be thinking about the fact that Quebec should do Ghana a favor. The boys should go out there, do themselves the favor they are losing out for by securing a win. It is only a win that would put Ghana in about 95% chance of qualifying to the round of 16 of the competition. Other than that, a draw tonight will just bring us back to what happened in Cameroon, where the team will have to fly back to Accra.
Are you privy to the possible lineup for tonight?
Not yet. But some of the information that I've gathered clearly suggests that because I understand Madina Shimero is available and might start this game. But the technical team, they were tight lipped on whether who starts or who doesn't start. But I get a sense that they are likely to go with the same lineup that played against Egypt on Thursday.
But you're already in the studio. You're already in the stadium. What is the mood there? Is it one of optimism?
The stadium is electrifying. In fact, just before you came, there were, in fact, let me just say this: if the football has not Ghana so much, Ghanaian music here has told the country because it's been dominant. It's been beaten to the speakers in parks and also inside the stadium. So just before you came to me, that famous song, Boy was what was beaten to the speakers inside the Olympic Stadium. So the atmosphere has been one of the times. It's been electrifying. It is the Horse Racing football that Equatorial Guinea, which is about to kick off in the next 10 minutes or so. So we are expecting about 6,000 people here. And the hope is that football is able to be a tenth of these numbers might just stay behind to support the Black Stars, because when you get a ticket, it gives you an opportunity to watch games. So what it means is that Ghana might just have additional support from the Ivorians who are inside this stadium, and that potentially be the top man the Black Stars will be able to scale with later tonight against Mozambique.
So Cape Verde, they've already qualified. So clearly in our group, the two possible slots clearly is between Egypt, Ghana, and Mozambique. So out of the three, any of them can go through, and that makes the situation quite complex and serious. So Muftau cannot hear me. He's already in the stadium ahead of the kickoff between Ghana and Mozambique. If Ghana is able to win, we will advance. So Muftau was asking that in our group, if we take a look at the table, Cape Verde, they've already qualified and they'll be waiting for their next opponent. But between Ghana, Egypt, and Mozambique, it could be anybody's slot to advance to the next stage of the competition. That makes the situation complex and very serious at the same time.
It is anybody's slot. If Mozambique wins, they have 4 points, because they're doing their own game against Egypt. If Ghana wins, Ghana has 4 points. If Ghana wins and Egypt also wins, Egypt will get 5 points. So it means that Egypt will finish second on their group, and Ghana will have to finish third. If Ghana wins and Egypt also loses, Ghana goes second on the group, and that gives the country an opportunity to be in the round of 16, which starts on Saturday.
All right, so let me pick your prediction so that I can let you go. All right, so that's it. That's Muftau Nabila coming to us live from Abidjan, where he is there for joining us watching the match. But of course, at 8 p.m., I'm sure that you can watch it live here and then throw your weight, your support, your prayers behind the Black Stars so that they can win and win convincingly and advance to the next stage of the tournament holding in Abidjan. The hope is that we'll end the trophy drought that's eluded Ghana in the last 42 years. That's quite serious. But that's it for today's edition of The Pulse. Tomorrow we'll be back here same time. But for more on the Boko issues, you can join Evans Mensah and Emefa Pao on News Night on Top Story. And of course, on Joy News Prime at 7 p.m., we have more development coming from Boko and the other news headlines making the rounds today. My name is Elton Brobe. Have a good evening and take care. See you tomorrow, same time at 3 p.m.